Will you marry me, perfect Claire?
What did you just say?
What?
Did you just say you wanted to marry me?
He said it, and now every hyena in the hallway is laughing.
Please, ground, swallow me now.
Chapter 3. See Me as I Am.
Miss Masterson's rambling about Asimov and the 3 laws of robotics. But all he can think about is her. She looked like something ethereal. An angel capturing secrets on paper. He couldn't stop watching her. Earlier, at the school's cafeteria, Jake was standing in line during lunch. He didn't even notice that Spike had arrived. He'd never been great at filtering thoughts before speaking. When Spike cut him in line, one word slipped out: troll.
What the frick did you just say?
Jake looked behind him to see who was the hapless idiot Spike must be addressing. Realizing to his horror that there was no one else there but him.
I said nothing.
You clearly said something. I heard it. You were right behind me.
Spike's eyes, bulging on a good day, now looked ready to leap from their sockets.
Say it again.
I said nothing.
Say it again.
Jake swallowed the seed of outrage that quivered in the back of his throat. He could destroy Spike so easily as he did to Rusty. But there's the rub. The mere mention of Rusty's name brings back a flood of shame, guilt, and self-disgust. These days, Jake found himself in a constant state of indecision. He wasn't a coward, but at this point, only he knew that. He scratches his crotch to buy himself a moment.
I was just singing.
Singing.
He held out his fist to Jake's face, and it could all have ended badly. Spike had a reputation for sending kids to the infirmary and getting away with it. He could weave elaborate lies, and somehow, Mr. Horvath, the guidance counselor, would believe it. That, or because Spike's family had clout. Jake, on the other hand, had no reputation whatsoever. The only one who knew the terrible things he could do had been dead for months. Jake was so close to forgetting about the promise he had made to himself, and the very dead Rusty McKenna. He was about to snap. An asshole like Spike deserved terror. To know how easily he could die. How soft his flesh was in Jake's world. How fast bravado crumbled when the truth came for him. Jake stared at Spike's clenched fist, and he couldn't stop himself from snickering. Really, he thought, this was supposed to be frightening? The snicker was the last straw. Spike hissed through his teeth, one of those bully ticks Jake found oddly fascinating, then swung his arm. But in a flash, the rage vanished. Smiling now, Spike brushed off Jake's shoulders and joked.
Hey, dude, why's your shirt so dusty?
What exactly is happening here, boys? History teacher, Mr. Pope magically materialized out of nowhere. Spike.
Spike slung an arm around Jake like they were lifelong friends, sing-songing that he just wanted to get to know the new kid.
Is that so?
Mr. Pope threw an incredulous glance at Jake, who merely shrugged his shoulders.
I think he was trying to make friends.
Mr. Pope massaged his chin, wincing.
You were about to punch him. Spike, I saw you. That's a strange way to make a new friend, isn't it?
This is an unfortunate misunderstanding, Mr. Pope.
What's there to misunderstand?
The way Spike said everything might have convinced a jury consisting of hardened doubters, but not Mr. Pope.
Stop insulting my intelligence, Spike. I see you doing something like this again, and I'm going to bleed just to see you expelled. Understand?
That never happens, of course. Spike has clout, as Jake would soon learn. Mr. Pope was a lone voice in the wilderness, yet he was up against the school board, whose members consist of friends or friends of Spike's father. Spike murmured something like an assent, and it was enough. After Mr. Pope left, Spike flashed a signal with his two fingers pointed at his eyeballs. "I'm watching you," in bully speak. And true to his word, he has been making Jake's life hellacious since then. The bully, the bullied, the class clown, the campus slut. The ease at which people filled these roles bordered on convenience, as if it were second nature to classify and be classified. So you don't have to guess. The girl with the sequin dress and miniskirt and constantly chewing gum is a slut. The boy with the nose ring and the permanent scowl is an evil villain in a story people would tell their therapist years after high school. And at the bottom of the food chain is Jake, the little mousie at everyone's mercy. If not for Claire, perfect Claire, Jake would have left this school in the first week of his hellacious life here. Each time he sees her, his heart feels like bursting. With the kind of silly words he blurted out earlier in the hallway, he could now imagine the consequence of that little stunt. The younger kids singing,
"Jake and Claire, sitting in a tree, K-I-S-S-I-N-G."
Did he just make Claire's life difficult? The girl only tried to help him out because, when you take away all the bullshit, he really did faint. There's no amount of protesting that Spike's slap made his face explode, that any other kid in the history of civilization would have survived that without seeing stars. He was a man, yet he fainted. Claire must think very poorly of him now, and the only way he could change that impression, the only way to make himself awesome in her eyes, is that same route he took with Rusty McKenna. He could enter her dreams, adjust her impression of him, but Jake wouldn't go there. In all honesty, though, he did try quite a few times, but each time he did so, he respected the boundaries. He'd watch Claire from afar, dreaming her dreams, enduring her nightmares. Jake wouldn't lift a finger even if he'd see some of Claire's nightmares running on a common theme: a dead dog, a man in white, an ashen gray sky. Whatever those dreams mean for her, Jake wouldn't go there. He has drawn a line, especially with people that matter. Claire, most of all. Jake watches her scribble on her notebook. Maybe if he'd think really hard, he could make Claire turn her head in his direction and see him. But he thinks of something better. He stands up, walks towards her, takes her by the hand. He asks, "Can I kiss you?" She doesn't answer. She responds by closing her eyes and pouting her lips. Jake looks at those lips and plants a kiss. Jake shakes his head and the daydream dissipates. Claire is still writing on her notebook, as their teacher, Miss Masterson, the subject of many a young man's wet dream, passionately discusses why robots cannot kill humans, and so on. Jake feels a growing sense of restlessness. One of these nights, when he's watching Claire in her dream, he might just spear through the barrier of her consciousness and just break all his self-imposed rules. Just maybe. But as he gazes at her, Jake knew in his heart he could never do that. He could never jeopardize Claire's safety, her very life, or do something that will be unfair to her. If only Jake could drag the reality of his dreams into his waking life, the world would have been an infinitely better place. "Claire," he quietly intones, "if you'd open my heart, you'd see there's nothing there but you. If only you could see me as I am. See me as I am," Jake thinks, hard.
The monstrosity of a robot killing a human master is unthinkable, that's why.
Miss Masterson intones, from far, far away. "See me, feel me," Jake thinks. "You're silly and love crazy." A tiny voice of dissent chirps from the back of his mind. "See me as I am," Jake insists. He closes his eyes. He relishes the afterimage of Claire writing. He imagines tucking her hair behind her ear, kissing its lobe. His eyes closed, he pictures her liking it. Then after a while, he opens his eyes, his heart stops. She's actually staring at him from across the room, smiling at him. Jake quickly turns away, his heart pounding in his chest. He pretends to actually listen to Miss Masterson, but he could feel the blood in his cheeks. He allows a reasonable enough time to pass before attempting to glance at her. Still, she's looking at him. See me as I am, my ass. Now she's seeing you, and all you could do is deny it. Self-loathing and shame churn like wet squishy things in his stomach, and he almost pees in his pants. Next time, have balls, he tells himself. Next time, return that look. But as he stares ahead, he's faintly aware that there might be no next time. Not after this shit.
Jake's story is far from over. The line between survival and vengeance gets thinner every day. Subscribe to follow Dream Boy, all the darkness unseen.